morning, Marco Island. This is the Good Morning Marco podcast. My name is Ryan Sullivan.
I'm Jordan Kraley.
And today we have two wonderful guests who are...
Tamara GOEHLER.
Stephen Gray.
Thank you both so much for coming on the podcast. We invited you both on. This is our final episode of the election special. So excited to have you guys on here. This has been an incredible experience getting to know, my first time getting truly politically active, being able to talk to everybody running this time around. So it's been a joy getting to know everybody. I've been very excited to get this interview well underway. Before we get going, I do have to do a little bit of housekeeping things. First things first, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button underneath the video right there. And if you are watching on audio, or I guess listening on audio platforms, please make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars. You have no idea how much that helps us in the algorithm. And then also follow us on social media at the Good Morning Marco Pod.
I believe these episodes are sponsored.
They are. Jordan, you can go ahead with that.
So first things first, we have Kava Culture Kava Bar Marco Island. They have their daily happy hour from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. They have plenty of other offers, like on Monday they do buy 2, get 1 drinks. They have different early bird and night owl specials. They have different events that always go on, and they're open from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day, rain or shine, hurricane or not.
Good Morning Marco is also sponsored by Raybert Media. Thank you so much to Raybert Media for sponsoring this episode of Good Morning Marco. You'll notice the massive quality uptick for the cameras. That is because Raybert Media provided some of the cameras that we were using on this episode. So a massive thank you to Jordan Raybert at Raybert Media, different Jordan. If you need videography for weddings, for commercial use, for real estate development, any sort of thing, if you advertisements, drone videography, Jordan does it all. So make sure to go to raybertmedia.com or shoot Jordan an email at Jordan, Jordan, at Raybert, ROEBERT, media.com. I know you know how to spell media. We'll give that a second. The joys of filming a podcast outside. Thank you so much to Raybert Media for sponsoring this episode. And with that, once again, Stephen and Tamara, if you're fine me using your first names, I hope. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on to the episode today. First things that we want to ask you both is just, which Tamara, we'll start with you, since I was given the insight beforehand, the brains of the operation.
Oh, God. First of all, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could give us your elevator pitch. So if you're unfamiliar so far, your elevator pitch, basically, if you were on an elevator and you just had the time of an elevator ride to tell someone everything there is to know about you. So in as little words as possible, who you are, what you're about.
My name is Tamara GOEHLER, and I'm from Soviet Union. I moved to America in 1992, and now I live in this incredible paradise named Marco Island, and I cannot be any happier.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Stephen, how about you as well?
Well, Stephen Gray, and thank you for inviting me. I went to Indiana University undergraduate. I went to Northwestern for graduate school. I love the outdoors. I've skied for the last 50 years, which doesn't work very well on Marco Island, but it's a great escape when I go out. Well, I don't do water skiing. I've worked at a bank. I love working with people. I've found that the more I give, the more I get generally in life. I've done a fair amount to help a number of people. I was the youngest of 16 cousins, and I was the youngest of 4 boys.
Wow.
So I had a lot of people training me and coaching me. So I've been very fortunate. I have 3 grown daughters, 2 grandsons, and everybody's happy. So life is good. Thank you.
That's good.
Awesome.
That's good.
Quick thing. So we did decide to have both of you on this episode at the same time because you guys are doing a joint campaign, correct?
Correct.
Do you guys want to tell us a little bit more about your decision for that?
Yes, but I want to jump in first. I was going around town, and the first thing that I thought, because before I was actually involving myself in the council campaign, I was like, that's a long name. I was like, wow. But yeah, so why is it that I see all the campaign signs together? Why is it that you decided to run a joint campaign?
So now I have a question for you.
Yes.
You know that has been done before, right?
Has it? When was it done before?
Well, previously there was Mr. Bresnik and Councilman Bresnik and Foley were actually running.
Okay.
Else, actually, Chairman Grifoni also ran in a slate of 4 people. So this is nothing new that we came up with. But I'll tell you why we are going to. Why are we doing this? First of all, it's financially extremely smart.
I would imagine the signs are.
Each sign is what is it, $9.50?
$9 or $9.50 a sign.
One sign.
So we're getting 50 off.
So we're getting 50 off. I pay
That's
$4.50. He's paying $4.50.
It's very clever. I can say
That's
that for
clever.
sure. Yeah.
And also, you know that there are 7 people on the council.
Right. There's 7, and then there's 6 people running, 4 open seats, plus Foley is being someone new will be appointed to his seat. Yeah.
So in order to actually make any kind of changes, you have to have 4 people to pass anything on a voting. So we were thinking, well, one can make a motion, the other one can second it.
Right.
And we were hoping that we were actually hoping that we could find a slate of 4, but it was just 2 of us. And most of all, we have exactly same goal and same vision for this island.
Right.
And we have that's the one of the reasons.
That's wonderful.
That was a great summary, Tamara. Thank you. We've been in candidate boot camp since June. This was a very aggressive ramp up and a very aggressive learning curve. And so after the last 4 months, we've worked hard to think through all the issues, and then we share our thinking. And so it's really, there's birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
There's powerful commonality in our thinking, but it's important that you understand that we surfaced out of passion from the residents that wanted to really carry a certain message back to the community and set the vision for the community. And so we were really recruited by some wonderful residents that were looking for somebody to speak about the issues that they thought were important that were being suppressed in some of the conversations. So we actually are delivering, I think, a quality performance in the name of democracy. We're having a really healthy conversation with the community about what the vision and direction is. And it's very simple. We love the island. We think this is a special piece of real estate in a special ecosystem. And the question is, what's its capacity? What are its tolerances? What can be managed? What's appropriate? And so we want to have a responsible, thoughtful, long-range conversation with the community for the benefit of the community.
Yeah. What are some of those specific issues that that both of your campaigns are wanting to highlight?
Let me give you an important one, then I'll let Tamara jump in. The fabric of a community is built on the residents, the engagement, the commitment. You're looking at one of the most intelligent, caring communities that I've seen, and the number of religious organizations on in this island is amazing. If you load this island up with short-term rentals, you're going to lose the fabric of your community. The short-term rentals do not support the churches. They do not support the volunteer organizations. And so we're most interested in preserving the integrity and the decency of the community. There's about 3,000 short-term rentals in the residential areas. And we're worried if that number becomes too large, it'll turn into something like Amelia Island, where they lost the residents and turned into a short-term rental community. So that's the vision.
Right.
I would add also that we just want to keep this. I moved here from the DC area because I wanted to live a quiet and happy life. I'm not saying to live in a horse and buggy era.
Right. It doesn't have to be Mackinac Island.
No, it's insane. I'm a metropolitan person. I love the city.
Yeah.
And this is what the most attractive part of this place was, that it is a city and it's also a town.
Right.
And it's also a community. So that's the character that we want to keep. So one of the reasons is, I think overdevelopment and over tourism is just, we have to follow the capacity that we can actually accommodate.
Right.
We do not have, our infrastructure needs to be taken care of, bridges have to be taken care of. So that's it. I just want to live in a small town with beautiful and wonderful community.
That's great. That's great. Before we continue on, is there anything else that policy-wise that you want to touch on before we get into a little bit more just about?
The only thing I would add, and this is trying to plan ahead. Forgive me, I'm a planner.
Yeah.
And I think ahead a lot. When you get off at I-75 at exit 101,
Right.
and you see all the construction that is going from there headed towards Marco Island, we are the closest beach. And the concern is that too many people may ultimately overrun our beaches and that we don't have capacity for it. We don't manage it responsibly.
Right.
So I love tourists. We respect the business community. We love this community, but we're trying to identify what are reasonable capacities, what are reasonable tolerances. And for example, we're worried about the lack of bathrooms on the beach.
Right.
So those would
That
be
is a
some
massive
things
issue.
that concern us.
That's great. Was there anything else that you wanted to
No,
talk
I think that's it.
That's good. That's good. That's great. So, when did you? Because you moved to the island in 2021. You said
Correct.
right?
2021 September.
Cool. And Stephen, when did you move to the island? How long have you been
Well,
here for?
I crossed the bridge onto Marco Island in 2009. After the real estate downturn, my significant other started looking down here and was just overpowered by her attachment to this island. So I moved here permanently in 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I am going to spend my end of days here because as a responsible adult, at some point I should give up my driver's license. And this island has a perfect footprint for me to operate without a car in those later stages of life.
It's getting there too. I've especially with the 1,000 Trees initiative, I've noticed Marco's slowly getting more and more walkable with each year.
More shade, better.
Because I remember even I would say 6 years ago, my friend Keaton and I, who I used to run a different podcast with, funny enough, we were doing a lot of plays with Sesparo Acting Studio, which is a friend of the podcast and sponsors us often. And we were putting up posters for a play. What we would do is we would walk the entirety of Collier in one day, and we would have to pack like waters and sweat rags and everything. I can make that walk easy now because it's nicer out. There's the more shade that there is, it brings down the temperature of the sidewalk by almost 40 degrees. I just hope and pray that we keep moving in that direction about more walkability, because I mean the bikes, and I have an e-scooter. I don't have one of these e-bikes, and I've got all the lights on it and everything. When I wear my helmet, I'm not one of these people that ride on the sidewalk
legal.
with it. Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I try my best to be street legal with it, but Tamara, one thing that really I want to hear your story from, because everyone else running for city council was born in the U.S., and I personally have only met 2 or 3 people who were born in the Soviet Union. How was it like growing up for you, and how does that impact your story, and how did you get to America?
I moved to America in 1990. Growing up was not that bad, honestly,
Right.
because our family was somewhat, okay. My grandfather was a Attorney General for the city I grew up.
Okay, yeah.
So, we were, I would not say middle class for America, that we were
Right.
over there, but we were actually high class over there for
Right.
the standards. Growing up was okay, and I moved to, only thing that was the biggest shock that when I moved to America, the freedom,
Right.
the democracy, the beauty that you all have.
That the amber waves of grain and such.
And, it's and up to date, I've lived here for 30 years,
Right.
and I still do not understand when people complain about. When they complain,
Yeah.
I don't get angry because I'm usually a happy person. So I'm like, seriously?
You get confused.
Yeah,
Because it's
this is what you crying
it's like
about?
we're living in the greatest country on earth. It's like, live a little.
Even here on island, I swear, I gotta tell you one tiny story
Yeah,
that I
go
don't
ahead.
said. I told one of my really dear friends that I said, I think I'm gonna run for a city council for Marco Island. She said, "You're too nice to do that." I'm like, "Really, girl?" I said, "I survived KGB. I can survive anything." Boy, I was wrong.
Yeah, next door might be a little
It's
Oh,
scarier.
No, not just. I think that doesn't matter. I just
Yeah.
want to move forward, have a happy life.
Yeah.
I have wonderful grown children, adult children. I have a granddaughter that I love dearly. I have 3 dogs that I adore. My
kind of dogs
mom
do you
lives. I have twin Boston Terriers, and I have a pit bull rescue.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
So yes, I just love this town. It makes me really happy. You know, all I want, honestly, to everybody to know each other, and it's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
I look at ourselves as neighbors.
Right.
And
Because Marco is considered, I learned this very recently, Marco is considered a medium-sized city, just based on population. Because, I mean, there are 16,000 voters on Marco now. But 4 by 6 miles, everybody knows each other. And, I mean, overwhelming population has moved here since like you're a member of that
COVID era,
population
yes.
in the COVID era,
Yes.
and the amount that this island has changed since then is astounding. Frankly, I'm very happy with the direction that we have been going recently. But yeah, it's just how everyone knows each other, and it's I feel like we're kind of in a different boat now too, because I don't know if you've seen this as well, because your names and faces are out there everywhere.
Yeah.
About it's like you're walking around, it's like hey, I know who you are. I walked into La Mesa for the first time last night. It's like yay. So yeah, no, it's great. So Stephen, a little bit about your upbringing. Where are you from initially?
I was born in New York. When I was 3, my parents told me to get in the car, and we moved to Northbrook, Illinois. So I grew up in Northbrook, Illinois, and it was wonderful. It was a great time in this country. I think by the time I was 5 or 6, I could ride my bicycle 5 or 6 miles from home. There was no concerns.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful I was raised in an era where, maybe I was a challenging child for my mom, and I was the 4th one. But, in the winter, they'd put me in my snowsuit, throw me outside, and I'd hear the door lock. And you'd hear this muffled voice on the other side, "Come back in 4 hours." And it was great because it was just
So not to fend with the wolves.
it was a free-range world. And I'm sorry, I did want to make one comment on Tamara's things. She inspired me to run.
Yeah.
Here's somebody from the Soviet Union that carries a copy of the Constitution in her purse.
Wow.
And we started having conversations, and she had such a great appreciation for democracy in the United States that she wanted to stand up for it, and I felt a little intimidated. I thought, if this person can come here with that passion,
like why haven't I?
Why haven't I stepped up? So I
That's-
just wanted to add that, and maybe maybe that was
inspiring,
caused by something in my childhood, but she motivated me to deliver.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
That's
to hear.
amazing.
Oh, Jordan, do you have something that you wanted to ask?
I mean, I can if you don't have any.
Okay, because I do have something.
Oh, well, go for it.
Okay, so now we know where you've come from. How did you two meet? So, because was it how long have the both of you known each other?
You have to
Because
answer that, because it's a lovely story.
Okay, this is fun.
We met probably 3rd week in May, maybe the 2nd week in May. It was somewhere
Wow.
in May of 2024.
Okay.
And we met, it is a collection of local residents that wanted to know if they could find some candidates that were willing to run with a certain set of views about what they thought Marco Island should be in the future.
So was this like a community forum like group? Was this something
No,
like made off of like Facebook,
It was
or how
just
is it?
no. I don't do Facebook. I'm sorry.
he's not.
I'm
Yeah.
a dinosaur. Forgive me. But it was a group of people that said, let's meet at Residence Beach and sit down at a picnic table and have a conversation and see if there was a set of shared views and a desire to move forward. And Tamara showed up there. We just happened to gather as a group of people and start to have conversations about whether we could seriously do this and whether we were willing to do it. And as Tamara mentioned, we have the heart and soul of Marco Island as our guiding principle here.
Right.
And so we just gathered from that and moved forward, and I was extremely impressed with Tamara. 4 languages she can speak. I'm still working on English. I have a
Same here.
I have a master's, or she has a master's in linguistics. So her skill set was excellent. I thought I'd be proud to walk with her through this process because of her values.
Cool.
I can continue that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I met this man. It was just most incredible at Residence Beach, and just like he said, we were contacted. Would you be interested to run? Because those were residents. They live here.
Right.
That they have been actually expressing frustration that city council have not been listening or the direction the place was going, and they were not happy. So they were looking for the residents to be interested to run. And here we are in the middle of the hurricane sitting in front of you. But yeah, I was very impressed. Steven is incredible. He's very intelligent. I'm learning a lot from him. He has much more experience he was a CEO. Okay, I worked most with the Special Operations Command. I'm a military person. I'm very structured. I'm very disciplined. I like to solve problems. I do not like procrastination. I do not like it. And when I worked with Special Operations Command, it had one motto: make it happen.
Yeah.
So that was my 25 years of my life. That's what it was. Make it happen.
I can relate. I work in TV production. It's very similar.
I'm married to a military man who also his motto is make it happen. We have 2 boys. The youngest one just was promoted, became a major in a U.S.
Wonderful.
Army.
Congratulations.
Our oldest one works up in Alexandria. He works in D.C. with he's an IT specialist. So I have a wonderful life. Honestly, I did not need to be punched in a gut daily basis. But I volunteered. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I love this place.
That's good.
I dearly care for this place. I moved down here to play tennis, run on a beach, get a part-time job, and read books. I got a part-time job because I love fashion. I got a part-time job in a boutique. I did run. I have not ran since we started this madness. and
I haven't
everything
paddleboarded
else
since
is
we
going
started
on.
this madness.
So yeah, that's how we met. That's how we took off this madness and craziness that we win or lose, we will be happy to serve this wonderful community.
That's great. So tapering off of that, a community involvement. So you're both residents, and obviously you answer that call that was put out to you. What are there any other things like in the community that you're involved with? Say like Our Daily Bread or other like volunteer anything along those lines?
Not on the island, but I have been involved with a school board a lot.
Okay, yeah.
So my answer is slightly different. I am a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, Naples chapter, and that goes back to 2017. And through that organization, I make contributions that also help the Collier County Scholarship Fund.
Cool.
I do support the Daily Bread and Harry Chapin Food Bank, as well as another firm called The Kitchen in Springfield, Missouri. So I think food insecurity is a terrible place for people to have to face, so I support that. I spend a great deal of time, volunteer time, on consulting with businesses. I started a business. I've started a couple. I help some people with their strategies and the offering memorandums.
Yes.
I also handle 30 individual trusts.
Wow.
So
that's impressive.
That's so some of my volunteer work is not observed by the community.
Right.
But I'm and actually, it's kind of an interesting question because I get a little frustrated. I intend, if elected, I intend to give my paycheck to a incentive fund for the employees of Marco Island, the city. I'm interested. I have a great deal of legacy skills in changing cultures, improving cultures, healthy and inclusive. And so I consider my running for the city council as my way to give back after many, many years of good professional skills. And I'm not looking for anything out of this. So I really thought that, I'm hearing 20 to 40 hours a week. If you're serious about this job, you might put into it. And so if I get to spend the next 4 years at 20 to 40 hours a week and I'm doing it without any compensation, I'm doing it for the benefit of the community with no special interest influences, I really feel like that's quality community service.
Yeah.
I would like to also pick up one in my culture, and I have to say that we don't brag about community service, the volunteering. The way I grew up, you do good deeds quietly with dignity. You don't have to advertise it. My biggest contribution probably is to the Veterans Administration, because I have been working. I was a vice president for the Women's Auxiliary in my American Legion chapter. I'm actively involved with MVETS and the American Legion. So what we are doing, we are helping the veterans transition from their skills from the military service to the civilian lives, such as healthcare, supporting getting new jobs. And
it's wonderful.
Yes.
Tamara touched on, so we're both givers. We found out, we've learned so much about each other. We don't like to talk about ourselves. Yet we raised our hand to run a political campaign.
Where everyone needs to know as much as they want to about you.
Really contemplated the full impact of that.
Like, wait a second, what are we getting ourselves into?
And on top of that, I would argue I'm a borderline introvert.
Yeah.
And so here, all of a sudden, I'm out here doing these things. And it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for both of us a little bit, but we're doing because we believe what we're doing is the right thing. So we're leaning into some things that we weren't all that skilled at to do this.
I want to pick up also something. Sitting up on the dais the other day at the forum I was like, is this what people are fighting over? It was intimidating, but to see my neighbors in the audience, it was wonderful. And I'm like, wow, this tiny chair has a lot of power, I guess. I don't know. It's just like, that dais should be about serving the residents, serving the community. It's not about me. It's not about him. It's not about my popularity. I've done enough of popularity in my life. So what I want to do is help the community that I love.
Awesome. So I just wanted to shift a little bit into more about y'all's daily life on the island. So if you guys had to pick your favorite restaurant, where would you guys go?
These are the real tough questions. If this is too difficult, we can also go cuisine-based.
I found one of there's two, I hope I get the name. First, I love Smith House, and I love how I'm treated there, and the ambiance there is one of my favorite spots. And obviously on a day like this, it's perfect.
Oh, goodness,
La Travola has been a wonderful restaurant. And I love the quality of the people and just the experience in there, and so those are probably my two favorite restaurants.
I've personally never been to La Tavola, but
it's wonderful.
I absolutely adore Smith House. I remember when Tony first was opening, right when the county pulled the Tiger Tail Beach Cafe out from under him, I went and actually helped him build the stage there at the boardroom, and I was there throughout that whole experience, and I was never a big biscuits and gravy man. However, I will have biscuits and gravy from the Smith House. It is one of the. It also. I did a ranking of the best burgers on the island, and Smith House ranked at number 3. Tiger Tail Beach Cafe did number 2, but it was a very close third. It was
I
the
don't know
same
how
people.
you always remember these things. You have so many rankings, and you
It's a
just
Sparrow Acting
immediately
Studio.
know.
I've done theater for a very long time. I have to remember a lot.
How about you, Tamara?
Okay, I absolutely love Dolphin Tiki. It's one of my favorite places. It's just a cute ambience. And CJ's on the Bay as well. It's really nice.
You're a fan of the on the water restaurants.
I love water restaurants. I just love it.
Yeah, I
It's
love the
just-
water. Love being right there.
I
yeah.
have to look at because my soul feeds on the tranquility,
Yeah.
which is water.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, I also like Oyster Society a lot.
I don't think I actually have eaten at Oyster Society. Wow, people are staring at us in their cars now. We've got the lights bright over here. I don't think I've actually eaten at. You'll find if it's a finer dining establishment, I probably haven't eaten there. I haven't been to 844 Oyster Society. Let's see, Marco Prime. I don't know if really you can call that. I don't know if that would be considered finer dining. I know it's a steakhouse.
No,
but-
Marco Prime is.
Yeah. Is it?
yeah.
Okay, I've never been inside.
They would want you to think they're fine dining and they charge accordingly.
Oh my God, that's funny.
good. That's very funny. That's great.
See, how can you say no? I will not run with you, with that sense of humor.
That's good.
Exactly.
So this has been a question we've asked everyone so far, and we've gotten some inflammatory answers. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee black.
Coffee black. I don't know if we can
Well,
reach
yeah,
that far,
back-
but yeah, I am black coffee through and through. When I first I weighed 290 pounds back in what was it? 2019, August of 2019. I weighed in at nearly 300, and I was like, all right. My doctor said that if I don't lose 15 pounds by the next time I see her, I'm getting tested for type 2 adult onset type diabetes. So I lost 100 pounds in less than a year. By the time I graduated high school, I had dropped 100 pounds. In fact, I got all the way down to 175 at one point. I fell off the train this year, but I'm back on, and I'm down 16 pounds now since last month. But I was drinking coffee white at that point with just French vanilla and sugar and everything. It's something that would kill me today. I am a huge fan of black coffee.
Which there are no calories.
Right?
in
Yeah.
a black
That's
cup
why.
of coffee.
That's why I had to get
I
used to
didn't
it,
know that.
and I got
Yeah.
used to it immediately. So I love it. Now here's the. How do you take your coffee?
I drink in the morning 2 cups of coffee. I
Right.
absolutely must have. I take one macchiato. I have a good coffee maker at
Right.
home. And my second one is black.
Okay, cool. Now, if we're not having coffee at home, where are we going? Because we got a lot of very good coffee companies.
Wake Up Marco.
Wake Up Marco.
Love it.
Where are you headed?
I don't go running out that often for that in the morning, but I'm a little older, and so there are certain things you manage differently in your life. And so if I really want to get woken up, I will get 3 shots of espresso at the Starbucks,
Yes.
which has a very low liquid content, and I can go about
So it
my
just
day
gets it
with
quick.
it gets it quick, and there's it's not like drinking 3 cups of coffee and have to worry
and
about
it tastes
what you
better
do
than a
with it.
5-hour energy.
Right.
And it's better for you.
So
than
that
a
would
5-hour
be
energy. You don't have all
I'd
the
go for
taurine.
about 3 shots of espresso if I really need to get going.
All right, yeah. I am a huge fan of Wake Up Marco. We did
Oscar is fabulous.
Yes, we
Oh,
did
such a
an
good guy.
episode where we went to 7 different places that serve coffee on the island, and we did a blind taste test and ranked all of them. And Wake Up Marco ranked second of
Who
all of them.
was the first one?
The Bean. The Bean is they do the.
Is it here on island?
So they do the farmers market. At that time,
Oh,
they were
exactly.
the Bean Mobile Cafe, where they were doing. They just opened their first physical location off island, the Bean Trolley Cafe, which is in Hitching Post Plaza, which we'll be interviewing them very soon. So yeah, they were like I died and went to heaven when I had that. So
Wake Up Marco is fabulous.
yeah, Wake Up Marco. It was a close second, but I love Wake Up Marco as well. It's a great place to go.
It is. I didn't realize they were open so early and that
Yeah.
they closed so early.
Yeah,
we almost missed it.
Yeah, we almost missed it because we're Gen Z and we're up a little bit later than most. But I don't know why we started a morning show.
No, exactly. So I was wondering, do you guys, a couple people we've had on here prior just absolutely love to go kayaking, love to go to the beach, ride their bikes around. What are y'all's favorite things to do around the island?
I run. I love to run.
Do you leave from your house and what's your route?
I run. I get out of my house. I run on San Marco.
Yeah.
I cross Residence Beach.
Nice wide sidewalks there too.
I go
so that's great.
I go into the Resident Beach. I run all the way to the cove. Run.
So you run on the beach too?
Yeah. Then I
It's more
go
difficult.
back up to Winterberry and run back home.
Yeah. Where all the nice
I
sidewalks
know.
are. Yeah, that's
I
great.
love to run.
This is enjoyable because now we have to meet on the tennis court. I have to see what you've got. I used to play a lot of tennis, but
Right.
I walk a fair amount because it helps me think. I have a number of projects I'm on, and so I work on a lot of strategy thinking. I'm on the board of a company in Missouri, and there's always issues, and I work on company strategies like some people work on crossword puzzles.
Right.
And so I love
That's
walking.
great. That's a great metaphor.
and kind of sift through the strategies. I thought about running again. I used to run 5 miles a day, but I stopped that. I was an avid skier. I did a lot of backpacking, and I do have a motorcycle hidden on the other side of the Continental Divide. I will not ride a motorcycle on this side of the Continental Divide. And I definitely recommend that nobody should ride a motorcycle in Florida, or be very careful if you do. It's a very dangerous place for that.
Absolutely.
But so that's
Goodness
one of
me,
my favorite releases. I have a place I can visit near Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. And when I need to clear my head, I get on my motorcycle early in the morning and I ride through that real estate, and it puts life in perspective.
Goodness me, yeah.
Aw.
That's wonderful. My dad was an avid motorcyclist. He would back when you could actually still get away with doing this safely. He would drive his motorcycle down 75 from Chicago because he grew up in the windings out in let's see, where was it? Not Elgin.
Was it Antioch?
No, it was close though. He went to Carbondale for school. I can't believe he went to
give us a call when
he
you
went to
figure it out.
Glenbard East. Glen Ellen. Glen Ellen.
Ah, it's a lovely town, Glen
yeah, so
Ellen.
he grew up in Glen Ellen. So he would take his motorcycle from Glen Ellen down here because
Wow.
my grandparents moved here first, and he would do that back in the day. So I grew up around biker culture a little bit, but
I managed to ride mine through Death Valley. I've ridden the whole
goodness
Oregon
me.
and Washington coast. I've been to the San Juan Islands. The Redwoods is one of the most magical places
Goodness
to ride a
me.
motorcycle. There's
I
an
would
incredible
imagine.
mystery and ambiance in there that's just incredible.
yeah.
So there's nothing better than a beautiful day on a motorcycle if you have the right real estate.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here you've got, especially this time of year, as it's starting to,
Oh,
the
yeah.
season's starting to ramp up. People are getting a little bit crazy on the roads, and so you could probably get away with it in some like back roads out in the Everglades. But
I'm sure. I'm sure there's safe places to ride.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't want to think
don't
about
want to risk it. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, so we've got a little bit of things that we like to do around the island. How about some music? Music is something that brings everybody together. Who's some of our favorite artists, favorite bands? Or actually, you know what? Let's keep this local. If you're going to be going going, who's some of your favorite performers from the area, or if you have any?
There's one jumps out at me, but I'm going to give you a different answer on music.
Okay, that's totally fine.
First, Johnny Fusco is somebody that I enjoy.
Yeah.
His voice. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of very good local artists.
Oh yeah.
My problem is I'm getting older. When I go out to dinner, I like to have a conversation with people,
Yes.
and sometimes the music can drown out the conversation.
Mm-hmm. I agree
but
with that.
But going way
100%.
back in time, the first concert I was blessed to see was in 1969. I didn't even know what a rock concert was.
I'm excited.
And that was
now.
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh my God.
My second concert.
My bells were going off the moment you said 1969.
My second
Oh my
concert
God.
I saw was Janis Joplin, and I was
Wow.
intimidated when she drank a fifth of Southern Comfort before the intermission. And she came back out just amazing. Third concert, B.B. King. I did hear.
Oh my God,
I did
another
hear
one.
Traffic, which I love. Stevie Winwood and Traffic. I saw the Who a couple times.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
I
I'm
can
jealous.
keep on going. So I was so blessed, and my kids are jealous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That I got to walk through that part of the music history in this country.
I'm jealous too.
Whenever people say I was born in the wrong generation, it's like, well, all the music exists now. No, the only thing that you're valid for saying that is being able to see the concerts in the heyday. I am jealous of that.
I saw Jimi Hendrix play a 21-minute version of Light My Fire with his teeth. I don't know how his dentist felt about that. But it was incredible to see the performance, and I walked out of there because I was like, 14 years old, and I
Yeah.
thought, wow, that's a rock concert.
Goodness,
I didn't realize quite what I was comparing him to.
Right,
It was
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, that's funny. I remember my dad told me that his mom wouldn't allow him to go to Woodstock because he was 12, and it's so which that was 69, right?
It was about, it's right about in there. Yeah, I didn't go there, wouldn't have thought to go there. Looked way too muddy to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Tamara, what about you? So we could do music and local, and then
Okay, I do
concerts
like
as well.
Alan West. What's his name?
the Ben Allen band?
No, Ben Allen is different.
Okay.
There is another one.
The West. I know exactly
he
who you're
play.
talking
Oh my God,
about.
he's wonderful. The band is wonderful. He plays at Snooki, and I've seen
Yes,
him up
yes.
there. Boardwalk, I've seen him over there. My very first concert was, what's his name? Billy Joel.
Ooh.
Billy Joel, that's a good
Billy
one.
Joel.
I
Love Billy Joel.
I loved Billy Joel. Then I saw Elton John. Then I saw Madonna.
Okay.
I know, trust me.
You like the individual artists.
Yeah,
Yes,
you've
then
got the bands down.
one of my greatest
Uh-huh.
concerts probably was Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Now I'm jealous of you.
I'm
We've got
really
the British invasion
She
over here.
She just outdid me.
I grew up in Soviet Union. We had
Yeah.
a lot of Brits, you know.
Yeah,
My
okay.
parents used to listen to
Back in
Beatles.
the USSR.
Beatles, Becky. That's Springsteen, isn't it?
No, Back in the USSR is first song on the White Album, the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah. There is another one. No, Born in the USA is Springsteen.
Oh, Born in the
Springsteen,
USA
yeah.
is Bruce
Never
Springsteen.
mind, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So yes, what I love I love all kind of music. I grew up on classical music because we
Right.
liked folk music. I like all kind of music.
Mhm.
When I moved to the United States, I fell in love with grunge.
Yeah.
So yes, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all of them.
Wow.
They are my people.
That's great.
That's awesome. I really like this topic, so I kind of want to know your answers.
Oh, my answers?
Yeah.
Who's my first concert I ever saw?
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
your favorite local artist.
Okay, so my favorite local artist is Ryan No, I'm kidding. My favorite local artist is Charlie Pace. The girl with the orange hair.
Oh, yeah, I know, yes.
Charlie hosts open mic here at the Kava Bar every Thursday, and she plays at Smith House at the Boardroom all the time.
Okay.
She is extremely talented, very Paramore coded. So and also is one of my best friend's girlfriend as well. Which I might have had a hand in that happening, but who knows? Looking forward to having Charlie on the podcast one of these days. So favorite local artist is Charlie Pace, hands down. And also huge fan of Big Mountain Hodge, the solo act from Marco Midnight. Huge fan of Jonathan Barr, who plays at the Hilton all the time as well. And then let's see, first concert I ever went to. I used to. I'm a very strong Christian. I went to with my church. We used to do this thing called Night of Joy and Rock the Universe, which was held in Disney World and Universal. I'm sure you could guess which one was where. So we would go to those where it was these massive, like, it was almost like it was. They would invite like 6 different bands would play on the same night in different locations in Disney World and in Universal. And it would be over like 2 to 3 nights, and I would see I saw Matthew West perform. I saw For King and Country. I saw let's see, I saw Skillet perform live as well. Colton Dixon was a phenomenal concert. I don't really know if I can count those, because it was like I walked up and I was like, wow, there's music playing, cool, I'm going to get on Splash Mountain. so it was, I loved those, so don't get me wrong. But my first real concert, I got pit tickets to see Luke Combs.
Ooh.
This was summer before. No, this was last summer. This was last July. I went and saw Luke Combs in the pit in Tampa, because I was. I'm not as into country music as I was back then, but I was. There was a girl who was really into country music that I took to the concert for her birthday. So we went to that together. But then a little time went on, and now I can get on your alley, because my first concert, where it was someone that I really loved and was one of my favorite artists of all time, back in September of last year, I saw Ringo Starr and his all-star band up in Clearwater.
Nice.
With Ringo had let's see, he had people from Toto. Peter Lukather, the lead guitarist from Toto. He had Colin Hay, the lead singer from what's it called? The I Come From a Land Down Under. That guy. What's
That's a good song.
What's that band?
I can't help you there.
Yeah, people know who I'm talking about. And then also had some people from Kansas as well. Also Edgar Winter was Edgar Winter was phenomenal live. He was basically took over as the front man when Ringo went. It's like, all right, that was Yellow Submarine, and now I'm gonna go in the back and drink my juice, and these boys are gonna play for about 8 minutes, and then Edgar Winter comes out. It's like Frankenstein. it's like, I'm the first person to ever put a guitar strap on a synthesizer. That was very fun. Jordan, what was your first concert? I'm enjoying this conversation. This is fun. Yeah.
Well, for local artists, we do have the same exact 3, and I wonder why.
Oh yeah, they perform here a lot. So
I used to schedule them. My first concert was not too long ago. I think it was 2 years ago. The first time I went to a concert, and it was Chris Young, which is a country music artist.
Yes, I am familiar.
He was at Hertz Arena.
Oh,
and I was really fortunate that I got to make it, because I had gotten the tickets and not remembered that I was hosting a state conference with like 2,000 people. And I got done with the conference, and I went right over there, and then I had to get up at like 5 in the morning, but it was okay. Everything worked.
Cool.
That's because you're young.
Exactly.
It gets harder later.
Yeah.
I already feel it getting harder.
Trust me, I understand. I have cataracts.
Oh, you're too young for cataracts.
That's what my doctor told me.
That's interesting.
But I don't know why.
Well, you'll be pleased to know they got great surgery.
I know that,
They
yeah.
do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
You're lucky you got them at this point in history.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm grateful for, is that at least I got them in 2024, not 1904. But so there's corrective surgery now. But yeah, otherwise, yeah. Oh, this is a fun conversation. Let me see how much time we got left to see if we can spare.
I do have to jump in. One of the best concerts I ever saw was in a bar with 125 people. My stepmother and my dad dragged me in.
Okay.
It was out west, and it was with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Ooh.
And to have a really quality band in this very intimate setting, we all know a great night of music, you walk out inspired, you just feel great.
Goodness,
But that being when you have great music in an intimate setting, it's powerful. It's a little different than sitting in a concert hall.
That's been I've never had that experience with music. I've gotten that experience with comedians. Because I'm a huge fan of stand-up. I don't know if you can. You
should be.
Tell,
Comedy's going to save us all from disaster.
100%. Yeah. So I've seen I went and saw an event, a movie premiere with this live panel where with one of my favorite podcasters actually live, where I was able to do a full meet and greet and everything. And one of my favorite events I've ever been to was at Off the Hook.
I love Off the Hook.
I saw Adam Ray, who is he's a guest on one of the biggest live podcasts in the world called Kill Tony. He plays Joe Biden on the podcast all the time. He was hilarious, and I got to talk to him for like 10 minutes afterwards. Just about comedy, and he was like, "Oh, keep doing the podcast, man. You got it. Like, it's like here's how you need to get started in stand up and everything." And it was just incredible. I love that was a. Thank you for bringing that up about the intimate setting, because that's
it's very powerful. You feel great about it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Let me think. There's we covered restaurants. We covered some hobbies.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead. You know this stuff.
So
I'm the politician.
Marco. And within these just few interviews we've had some people who, daily drive their car, daily drive their Moki. I was wondering, do you guys drive a golf cart? Do you drive your car? How do you mostly get to places on the island?
Well, first I have to talk about a sad loss I had recently. I had a Honda 80cc scooter that I got 12,000 miles out of it, and my engine froze up.
Oh, goodness me.
So I absolutely loved riding my scooter. So I just probably created a little bit of hypocrisy. I told you not to ride motorcycles in Florida, but on Marco Island at 35 or less, I loved riding my scooter, but it's deceased.
My condolences.
It is. It's tragic. I felt a great sense of loss, and I do like to walk a lot, and I also drive a Mini Cooper.
Oh, very cool.
And which is a convertible, and obviously the weather is starting to head the right direction.
It's the best time of year.
I'm excited.
I was trying to get a little more mature in my life, and so by being more mature, I thought I'd go for 4 wheels instead of 2, and have a convertible. So I love driving that, but the walking.
Do they never stop telling you that you gotta act your age?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Good. All right, I'm glad.
I'd rather carry my energy and what I am. As Tamara says, she looks at me and says, "You're like a little boy sometimes," and so I'm trying to desperately hang on to that.
That's good. Well, the people keep saying that we need younger politicians, so we'll take what we can get.
But I am qualified. I'm over 21, so it's safe.
Well, Jordan will be over 21. You'll be under 21 in a week. Look at that. You're Benjamin Button's disease over here. Yeah. So congratulations on getting younger, apparently. No.
Well, I also have a little convertible Lexus SC420. 430 actually, SC430, and I love it. And most of the time I drive it top down. But if I don't have to drive, I don't want to drive. I walk. I walk to grocery store. I walk. I just love to walk.
So
especially now.
I know, it's a perfect time of year.
With that, we're just about out of time for this podcast now, and this has been an enlightening conversation. I've had so much fun getting to know both of y'all. There was something that you brought with that you had said about had the smoking gun.
Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing because we probably don't have time.
Oh no, we can make time. It's only about me in the editing booth about wanting to not spend the time.
So you actually would like me to read my first press release?
I can read it if you want me to as well. You can read it, or we could all try to take a stab at it.
You have a better voice.
I'll try.
So
first, look at the
I'm
date
the
that it
actor.
was published.
So give me the elevator pitch of your press release.
Well, this is a newspaper article from March of 1957.
Okay.
And it was reporting that I was missing at 2.5 on my tricycle. And, in today's world, luckily my parents have both passed away, so we can't go back and pick on them for not watching me.
Okay.
But
that's the first time I've heard, luckily both of my parents have passed away.
Well,
but, yeah.
that was because, now
Yeah.
if you neglect your children, you're in a different conversation.
Right, yeah.
This was a world where the kids got to go free range.
Yes.
Yeah, come back when the street lights turn on.
The door locked and come back in 4 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, and that was
I remembered the reference from
conversation.
earlier in the podcast.
So this was an article about me having gotten on my tricycle at 2.5 and disappeared. And then you can have it, and basically you can read what you like of it, but they had the police out looking for me.
You can tell me to skip at any point, by the way, if you want
No,
me to.
go ahead, do what you want here. I am a really open, honest person, so this will sort of expose me a little bit, but go ahead, have fun.
All right, let's see. So it's 1957. Should I do transatlantic? Yeah, I'll go ahead. Tot plays happily in doctor's home as frantic search goes on.
Yeah,
I'm going to put an effect on in post and everything. It's going to go black and white. Watch this right now. Stephen Gray, 2.5-year-old son of Mr. and Mrs. John Gray of Fargo Lane, Irvingston, didn't realize it, but when he took an unescorted tour of a neighborhood Saturday afternoon, he caused a lot of worry. Members of the household, joined by 2 policemen and neighbors, went into the most intensive missing child hunt in that part of the village in a long time. What was the last one? For more than an hour, while little Stephen was at another home a few blocks away, it was 1:45 p.m. when John Lanigan of Ardsley Park, a friend of Mr. and Mrs. John Gray of Fargo Lane, called from the Gray residence reporting the youngster missing. He had been last seen with his tricycle in the yard near the house at about 1:15 p.m. The Lanigan advised Sergeant Edward J. Foley at the police headquarters. Called police. It was said that when the governess could not find the child, she called Mr. Lanigan, a friend of the parents who were away. Unable to find him, Mr. Lanigan quickly called the police. Foley contacted Sergeant Peter A. Gorey and PTL?
Private. That'd be private, I think.
Private James Sanvera. They hurried to join in a search of the household, then combed the immediate vicinity through a tree-covered area and a nearby pond, and also questioned neighbors along Fargo Lane and Meadowbrook Road. The boy had not shown up at any of the number of homes. A check by officers revealed, and the neighbors joined in combing the area with police, but no trace of the boy or his tricycle could be found. Just about 3 p.m., the maid at the home of Dr. Lansing Keeler at 41 North Broadway, north of Irvingston Presbyterian Church, called headquarters advising Sergeant Foley that a small boy they did not know was at the house. Private James Sansevera, who rushed there, said that he learned that the child came in at the same time a patient did, and it was presumed the child belonged to the patient. It was later believed the child lived there and took no particular notice of the youngsters going into the house. For most of the time that the police and others were searching for the child, he was in the Keeler residence, apparently making himself at home. Private Sansevera took the child home and notified neighbors that little Stephen Gray was safely back home. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and settled down to normal again. From March 1957, Tot plays happily in Doctor's home as frantic search goes on.
And since then, I've now been to 50 or 49 of the 50 states. So that's when I started wandering.
Wonderful.
And it's still on a roll. Thank you.
It's wonderful.
What's the state you haven't been to?
Delaware.
Delaware. Well, what's in Delaware?
Please tell me to motivate me to go there.
Look at me. I'm in Delaware. There's an old Illinois reference for you.
Okay.
I'm from Aurora, Illinois. That's my Wayne's World impression. But that's incredible. That's so fun. I'm always glad when I get to do a little bit of voice acting on the podcast, because that's what the podcast is for. People listen to it. So
Maybe.
I hope so. Well, no, actually, we just broke 400 downloads on the podcast, which is great, because once we hit 1,000 downloads, that's when they start giving us advertisers on audio platforms. So hopefully we'll reach that in the not too distant future. With that, Stephen and Tamara, is there any final closing arguments? If you look into that camera right there and tell the people all listening and watching at home, if there's anything else that you'd like to say before we end this podcast today.
I just want to thank you guys for
Absolutely.
inviting us. This was lovely, and the weather is perfect.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yes, it was perfect. I just want to let you know that I'm running for city council, like I said earlier, and I will continue saying and repeat myself because I care for this community. I am not anti-business, I'm not anti-tourist, and I'm not anti-anybody. I love this community and want to make even happier place to live for all. Thank you again.
That was beautiful. I did a lot of backpacking. I did Outward Bound. I spent a lot of time out in the wilderness. And so I developed a philosophy early in life. I like to leave a campsite better than I found it. And that's an important concept to me. And I'm also a giver. And so I feel this is an amazing community, and I believe I can bring some positive energy and some unity and some healthy elements to this. So in running, I just have a simple conclusion that we're very genuine, very sincere, and we'd like to leave the campsite better than we found it if we actually end up in office.
That's good. That's wonderful. Thank you both so much for coming on to the podcast today. Those were beautiful closing statements, too, as well.
They were amazing.
Thank
Thank you both.
Yeah,
we're pretty sincere, we're pretty genuine, we're
That's
down
good.
to earth.
We are happy people, actually.
And actually, I'm incredibly grateful that I've had the chance to get to know Tamara.
Good.
Impressed me.
Well,
We made lifetime friends during this campaigning. It's tough, it's strenuous, sometimes it's extremely frustrating, but there are five of us that we have incredible ladies behind us that actually literally carrying us with their help, with the brain, with the support. And we are so grateful for them. They know who they are, Julia Brenner and Lisa Foster and Howard Reed. We love you all, and we are very grateful for all you do for us.
That's wonderful.
We're standing on the shoulders of the community, and we made it clear to them that if we end up on the city council, that we're going to be completely accountable to them. We would love to dazzle them with some quality work and improve the ambiance of the island, the energy on the island. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Of course.
Well, where can everyone watching you find you? Where can website, socials, all that sort of thing?
Well, okay, I'm not a big social media.
Right.
We do have a campaign website, which is the Marco Island 2024 election.com, which gives a lot of our...
That was a good domain to get.
Well, and we work really, really hard in candidate boot camp to think through position statements. And we have a lot of commonality, so that's the best place to check us, I think.
Cool.
You got any other suggestions there?
No, that would be it.
Okay,
That's
Marco
amazing.
Island Election 2024.com.
Yes.
Great. Jordan, where can they find you?
You can find me at
Speaking to the mic.
huh?
Speaking to the mic a little bit more, sorry.
You can find me
No,
at
not that much.
You can find me at JGKraley03 on Instagram and on Good Morning Marco Pod.
Yes, so, you pitched to me. Go ahead, sorry. Step on
Ryan,
your
I don't
toes.
know where they can find you.
Oh, okay, well, I can tell them. You can find me at my house. Don't go there. But you can also find me at Real Ryan Sullivan. That is RealRyanSullivan. You can also find me at my website, which is www.ryanmsullivan.com. You can find all of my projects there. You can find my music. You can find my events planning. I've got this Sunday. I am hosting Jeopardy here at Kava Culture, so come out for that. That should be at 4 in the afternoon. So there will be I'll be here in full garb, asking questions, and there are giveaways for that. So make sure to come out for that. And yes, RyanMSullivan.com. Make sure to listen to Good Morning Marco on all platforms. Rate the podcast 5 stars. If you are listening to this podcast, make sure you go over to YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. Hit that big red button down there at the bottom. Last time I checked, Jordan, what percentage of people watch the podcast but aren't subscribed? 98%. That is the most abysmal statistic I've ever heard in my life. So please subscribe to the podcast.
You really like that word.
I do. Well, it's just an easy thing to say. I've said the same thing the last 9 podcasts we've recorded.
That's why I said you like that word.
Yeah. So
Find a synonym.
it's easy to keep the same ball rolling. So yeah, please subscribe. And also, if you haven't listened on audio platforms, please go over and listen on audio platforms and rate the podcast 5 stars. It helps us so much in the algorithm. Helps us get noticed. Share the podcast, share the feed, let people know on Marco or people planning a trip to Marco to know about we've got this great thing going on here, to let you know what's going on. We've got all of these interviews, if you haven't seen all the other ones, with all the other candidates as well. We should have something coming out about Halloween as well this week.
Yes.
So,
and just a big thank you to Tamara and Steven for coming out
absolutely.
tonight. New fellow friends of the podcast. We hope to have you guys back.
Yeah.
I'll subscribe.
Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, and official friends of the podcast, we'd love to have you back at another time. Of course, no matter what happens in the election, too. Extending that hand. Yeah, wonderful. We'll also have to do a solo episode with each of y'all at some point in the future, too. So,
that'd be fine. We might be more interesting if we get in as opposed to if we don't. But
yeah,
let's see what the future offers us.
It's like yeah. So, and with that, Jordan, this is a sponsored episode, isn't it?
It is?
Yeah. Who are we sponsored by?
Let me look at this great big sign over here.
Just get to it. We're running out of time.
We're sponsored by Kava Culture Kava Bar here on Marco Island. They've got their happy hour from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. every single day. They're open from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day. And they have plenty of events for anything that you could even think of. Music, art, bringing your kids.
Jeopardy.
That one. And, yeah. Are we sponsored by somebody else?
We are, but also don't forget, on election night, we're going to have a very fun event here at the Kava Bar, where we will have a mock debate of who's the best regular at Kava Culture between Jonathan Barr, Leanne Mattioli, and yours truly, Ryan Sullivan. And many people are telling me, even the people who don't agree with me, are saying that maybe perhaps bigly they're voting for me. But so please come out to that. Otherwise, we are also sponsored by Raybert Media. So Raybert Media graciously let us use some of the tech that we are using this evening, which you'll notice the massive uptick in quality that we have for this podcast as well as our previous episode. So a massive thank you to Raybert Media. If you are in need of a videographer, whether it be for weddings, for commercial business properties, for any sort of business, if you need advertising done, events, he's done great work with Fiddler's Creek and with Faith Church, a ton of wonderful things. So make sure to go to raybertmedia.com and go contact Jordan, not this one, that's Jordan Raybert. That's send him an email at jordan@roebert media.com. That's raybertmedia.com. Go ahead and you can check out their website and see all the wonderful videos that he has there. With that, I believe that's all there is.
Yes.
So once again,
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you
Have
again.
a wonderful night.
Thank you
Spend
very
the
much.
night chat.
Now I'm converted. This is now my new coffee shop.
Cool.
Well done. No, and the owner's wonderful.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Absolutely
That's,
wonderful.
always support local business.
Well, this is
So-
why I need
Always.
to get out more.
So
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
both.
I hope we were of some use, and
absolutely.
best wishes.
Thank you.
And with that, thank you so much for watching. It really does mean the most, and we will see you all in the next one.